I'm Madeline Procruel.
I'm John Spangenberg.
I'm Kristen Messersmith. And I'm Whitney Badge. This news and more on CSTV News.
Good afternoon, Cedar Springs. This is Mitch Hanmer with CSTV. We've got a couple of announcements for you this week. First off, the school is hosting its very own variety show tomorrow night, which is Thursday. Tickets can be purchased for $7 at the door. We hope to see you all there. Also, Pennies for Patients has started. You can donate $1 to Miss Hillier in the main office. All proceeds will go to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Foundation. Also, if you're looking for a job this summer, John Ball Zoo is looking for zookeeper assistants. If you're interested, find an application online. Also, the West Michigan Humane Society is looking for camp counselors. Applications can also be found online. Ferris State will be hosting a campus visit in the Media Center April 1st at 10 p.m. for juniors and seniors. The West Michigan College Fair will be held April 2nd from 6 to 8 in the DeVos Place. It is a free event. Last but not least, our school is doing its very own Lip Dub, the first one ever for Cedar Springs. We hope to see you all there and participating. Find Alex Hughes for more information. This is Mitch Hanmer, CSTV. Have a great week.
Good afternoon, Cedar Springs High School. I'm Whitney Badge with CSTV News. New things are happening here at CSHS, but one change in particular is going to have a large impact on us this next year, and that is the change from trimesters to semesters. We know that some of you are for, against, or frankly indifferent towards the subject, but the purpose of this segment is to inform you of what this change will look like, and so that you can prepare yourself for a successful high school career. First, we talked to Principal Mr. Barenwald and asked him why we're making the switch in the first place.
Performing in school, and if we can look at the benefits of having students full year in their core courses that teachers can work with and get to know and differentiate for more, then I think it's one of the main reasons why we made a change to the semesters. What I mean by that is we had a number of classes that were only operating in the 2 trimesters, and by switching to semesters, those will now be full year classes that will give students about a 23-24% increase in their instructional time. The other piece is we have a good amount of students that are doing dual enrollment too. As juniors and seniors, that lines up better because the colleges are on semesters. We also had some benefits too overall with scheduling. One additional piece I want to point out is what we're trying to do to get people informed. We want to make sure that the questions are getting answered, what needs to happen, so that students are informed and making good decisions about the courses that they're selecting. We're trying to advance the program and still meet the needs of all the students.
Now that you know why this change is taking place, it's important to know how this is relevant to you. We sat down to senior Kelly Spar to talk to her about how this change affects the students and teachers at CSHS.
The first change that you'll see with the semester schedule from trimesters is a change in number of marking periods, obviously from 3 to 2, and the length of those marking periods will change as well. Trimesters, it's currently 12 weeks per marking period, and semesters there will be 18. And with that change, you will also have 6 classes a day rather than 5, and those classes will be a little bit shorter than they are now, probably about 60 minutes rather than what we have now, which is 70. Overall, classes that you can take, you will have 12 sections to fill up rather than 15. Although the transition from trimesters to semesters may have some bumps in the road and there may be some students who aren't particularly happy with the change, I'm sure that everyone will adapt, and I'm sure that there will be plenty of plans put in place to help with the transition, and I'm sure it'll be a good one.
Lastly, we caught a word with counselor Mrs. Cooey to get some tips on how to adapt to this change.
I have been pleasantly surprised by students who have come in and said, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get banded and KCTC and whatever other program they wanted. And for the most part, we've been able to get kids pretty much whatever they wanted. And most of the kids, if we couldn't get them everything, they were already pretty aware of that even in the trimester schedule. So it wasn't a big shocker. What was the shocker was that what they didn't have to give up. So this is a fine arts focused student. He really wanted to do advanced drama for 2 years, and he wanted to do band. So we made it work, and then he came to me yesterday and was like, can I get KCTC in there? So we tried putting KCTC, and with the program he wanted and the additional credits from KCTC, he was able to fit it all in. That pretty much tells me we can do a lot. We can move and wiggle a lot to get everything in that students need and want. It's really not as bad as I think students think it's going to be. It's going to be harder for an incoming freshman for next year. Like, it's going to take up more space, but kids who are currently in the system are not going to see as much of a drastic issue. I think students will be able to adapt well. So some of the things that are hard in trimesters will become easier in semesters. It always takes a little bit of time to deal with change, but I think it won't be as scary as students think, or even as if they think their schedule is going to be impossible. It's not. And Ms. Cattenhead and I are really good at working with kids to make sure they can get in what they want and what they need and what's going to prepare them best for the future.
Hopefully, this has been clarifying to those of you that weren't necessarily aware or informed of this new change. Keep in mind that this is a big step, so it's all right to be confused or frustrated if your scheduling doesn't go exactly how you want it. But just keep in mind that we're all in the same boat. As a senior, all I can say to you underclassmen is to enjoy your high school career. The change from trimesters to semesters is so small in comparison to the changes that life has to offer, so make the most of it. This has been Whitney Badge with CSTV News. Thanks for watching.
Hi, I'm Madeline Percrulla from CSTV News. As college looms closer, there are many big decisions the seniors have to make. Those decisions are not just on which college they're attending. They also have to decide on how to pay for it. There's FAFSA, scholarships, military, and simple budgeting. We caught up with upperclassmen counselor Mrs. Cattenhead for some more details on how to save for college. Mrs. Cattenhead, what is FAFSA and how does it work?
FAFSA is the federal application for free student aid that you fill out, and it helps to determine how much money the federal government will give you to attend college.
And who's eligible for FAFSA?
Anybody is eligible for FAFSA. You have to fill out the form and get a determination at the end of that process.
And why would you say FAFSA is important?
If you want some money to attend college, then it's important.
Thank you so much. Don't forget that Mrs. Cattenhead has been emailing seniors scholarship opportunities on their student emails. If you aren't sure what your student email is, you can stop outside the guidance office to get that information. Another option is to search the internet for websites that will link you to scholarship opportunities. A few good ones are collegeboard.com, college.gov, fastweb.com, scholarships.com, and questbridge.org. As there are many different ways to pay for college, we caught up with some seniors around school to figure out how they're going to pay.
I'm getting a job, and I filled out my FAFSA, and I'm applying for scholarships.
Well, I'm planning on getting help from my parents and getting some scholarships, and I have a job right now. So.
Well, actually, the government, because my family is poor, a little bit poor. I get 2 years for college for free. That's only a tuition though, but room and board, I have to come up with a way to pay for college, so probably loans.
How did you pay for college?
Well, my wife and I chose to take out a certain level of student loans. I did have some athletic scholarships and some academic scholarships that helped out a little bit, but we both worked our way through college for our living expenses, and our parents were able to take out some additional loans in their name.
How are you paying for college?
I'm going to be working at Arby's, working my way through college, and then going to be taking out those student loans.
Well, my parents are helping out a little bit. I filled out my FAFSA. I received a few scholarships from the college that I'm attending for my ACT scores and my GPA, and I also applied for a few scholarships.
Another thing that will help you pay for college is ACTs and GPAs. Those two, if high enough, colleges will offer you money for them. That way, you can have some money to pay for college. So, take those ACTs seriously. Take some classes. Or if it's not high enough and you want a higher score, retake it. You never know, you might get some money for college. Other options for seniors stressing about college tuition is the military. If you're enlisting for active duty or joining the reserves, the military will help you pay for your college tuition. For more information, please contact your recruiting office in the Grand Rapids area or check out their websites. One of the simplest ways to earn money for college is by saving money. Be smart with it. Every penny saved counts. A lot of us are busy with school, extracurriculars, and sports, so it's sometimes hard to find a job, but that doesn't mean you can't save your money. Get a jar for your college fund and start putting any extra money you earn into it. A great way to know how much money goes into the jar would be to sit down and make a budget. Make sure you prioritize your needs for the month, spend what you need, and keep the future in mind. Here are some tips from Dave Ramsey on how to budget. Saving for college is a big responsibility, but there are many ways to go about it. Wherever you're planning to go after high school, there are many ways to pay for it. Back to you guys.
As a student, I know how it feels to be overwhelmed with homework. It can be a struggle to balance school, homework, and a job while still maintaining some kind of social life. You can often hear students around the building complaining that teachers just don't understand we have a life outside of school. I'm Kristen Messersmith with CSTV News, and this week I caught up with some teachers that share the same challenge of dealing with busy schedules. These teachers spend their time outside of school helping others and bettering the community. Mr. Modisher is one of the math teachers here at Cedar Springs High School. When he's not teaching, he spends his time coaching at a local college.
So I'm Mr. Modisher. I have been coaching soccer at Grand Valley State University. I'm an assistant coach at Grand Valley State University women's soccer for the last 9 years. After school, we have practice 5 days of the week and games on the weekends on Friday and Sunday. As soon as school is done here, I go right to Grand Valley. We start practice there about 3 o'clock, and we usually practice for about 2 hours, so it goes from 3 until about 5. We've had great success. We've won 3 national championships in the last 5 years. It's a great experience. I've learned so much being around it, but it's also fun at the same time. I get to let some of the things about teaching go while I'm out on that soccer field, and that's what allows me to kind of regroup every single day. It's something that I've loved and have always loved to do. It allows me that time to, that's why I do it, and that's why I want to coach, and that's why I want to continue to coach.
Mr. Stewart teaches humanities at Cedar Springs, but he also likes to give back to the community whenever he gets a chance.
My name is Mr. Stewart, and outside of school, sometimes I like to raise money for an organization called Charity Water. They build clean water projects around the world for the 1 billion people on the planet who just don't have access to clean water. And I just get fired up about it because I have a little toddler and baby, and I just imagine what it would be like if they didn't have clean water. So I like to, I guess, kind of do my part to fight that problem. I've been doing that for about 3 years now. I think, my students and I, and a lot of the students in Cedar Springs High School have raised about $15,000 in the last 3 years, so it's a lot of money to me.
Miss Fournier spends her school days teaching science here, but when school gets out, she gives her time to those in need.
Hi, I'm Mary Fournier, and I do work with a nonprofit organization. It's called To Africa From Us. I go to communities in Uganda, and we fund projects that are driven by the needs of the communities. So they would tell us that they might need some help with raising funds for schools, or building a well, or making a sustainable farm. There's a lot of things that might be needed. An incinerator for waste disposal, books for the school, computers for the school. So these are some things that my organization has been able to do. We've been doing work in Uganda since 2009, and we've raised over $70,000 for some local projects. We've built 2 dormitories, 2 classroom blocks, provided several water tanks, and water accessible for several hundred people. It basically is going to help alleviate the whole cycle of poverty in this developing nation. And I went there initially in 2008, and I knew that there was something more that I could do, so I came back and I started this organization. I think that it's really important to be able to give to the world in a positive way if you're going to make any sort of difference in it, because if we only do the good to the people that do us good, then there's nothing that ever changes. I really think that it's important work that we put ourselves out there and we try to help others that may need that assistance.
You'll find Mr. Carter roaming the halls during the day here at the high school, yet outside of his security job, he likes to guide others down the path of faith.
Well, hello, my name is Craig Carter. I'm the high school security officer here with Cedar Springs High School. But in addition to my job here, I do have other responsibilities. I am a pastor of a local church. I've been the pastor there for over 11 years because I think it's important to make a difference and impact students and families in a positive way. When I was a freshman in high school, my wrestling coach, who was a very devout Christian man, made a huge difference in my life at a time where I was going through some difficult times personally. And that relationship at a time in high school was influential in my life, and I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for one man at my high school who made a difference in my life, and I'm passionate about making a difference in people's lives.
I'd like to thank those interviewed for taking the time out of their busy day to sit down and talk with us. Just remember, you're never too busy to give back. This has been Kristen Messersmith with CSTV News. Thanks for tuning in.
Hi, I'm John Spangenberg with CSTV News. I'm here in the main hallway, which you've probably walked down many times without paying any mind to one of its most prominent features. It's big, it's almost as old as the school itself, and possibly even older than you. I'm talking about this mural. You may have been so oblivious to it that you didn't even know it existed, but even if that's true, you do now. I'm going to tell you all about it and a few other things around Cedar you may not have known about. This mural is of Union School. The school stood where Hilltop stands now until 1924, when it was torn down because it was considered unsafe and the city thought it could collapse on the students at any moment. Ironically enough, they had used dynamite to take it down. Its name, Union School, directly relates it to the Civil War, at which time many northern schools described themselves as good Union schools. And like many other schools, Cedar Springs adopted the name Union School. While we're on the topic of school names, have you ever wondered why we have 3 elementary school names that seem to fit and one that doesn't? Beach Elementary is the odd one out, with a name that relates more to summertime fun than the school district itself, or so it seems. A man named Kurt Beach farmed the land before selling it to the school district, with the exception that he was allowed a lifetime lease that allowed him to live on the land for, well, life. Keeping on the topic of names, Morley Park was named after Howard Morley, the man who donated the property for the park. However, just as always in business, it was conditional. Howard Morley wanted the park to be a place for adults to relax without kids running around making noise. The city council overturned the clause soon after, however, making it available for all ages to enjoy. And still continuing with names, Cedar Springs owes its name to the well behind Cedar Springs Fire Department. Back when the roads didn't exist and the way of travel was Indian trails, the first Cedar Springs settlers built an inn there. Travelers were told that there was a place that they could stay by the cedar trees and next to the flowering wells. While there is no written evidence that this is how Cedar Springs came to be, it's generally believed to be the truth. There's so much history in Cedar Springs that it can be hard to believe at times, and we have barely scratched the surface. If anyone wants to know more about Cedar Springs or the rest of Kent County, they can head down to the Cedar Springs Museum on Wednesdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The members of the Cedar Springs Historical Society will gladly help you with any research questions you may have. This has been John Spangenberg with CSTV News.